Hello everyone and welcome to Brewed in Barnsley with your host me, Matt McGlone. Each episode I'll be joined by a well-known Barnsley personality to discuss how living here has shaped their lives. On this month's episode, we're joined by cricket legend Katherine Sciver-Brunt. Welcome to the podcast, Katherine.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm great, thank you.
Feel good to be back in Barnsley. You've made a trip today to see us, haven't you?
Yeah, the weather hasn't turned out for me today, but it's always nice to be back. It's obviously very close to my heart and full of family, so yeah, always nice.
So do you come back very often, or?
I do right now because I've got a lot of time on my hands. I'm recently retired from cricket, so I'm less around the world, more able to spend time with family. Which I have the majority of here, and if not, I'm trying to encourage them back. Actually,
Yeah.
One of my sisters lives in London, and I've told her you need to come back.
Yeah,
it's just like you rarely see. That's one of the worst things about playing cricket for England or sport in general. You make a lot of sacrifices, and that especially happens with family. And I'm the youngest of 6, so missed out on a lot of siblings' birthdays, nieces and nephews' births, and yeah, it's just sad. So I try and make the most of it when I'm here.
Yeah, and I think that's something people forget, isn't it, about sport? They just see you on the telly watching a bit of cricket and think, oh, they'll just rock up on a weekday and play this game. But there's so much behind it, isn't there?
Yeah, it's like you're on a hamster wheel or a treadmill, like the treadmill of life, if you like. And the way it works is you train, you play, you sleep, you refuel, and then you do it again. And it's sometimes, like in the beginning, it was a bit of a hobby and just something I loved doing without any, what do you call it, a mortgage or a phone bill, or, things to worry about, responsibilities. And you could just play cricket and you thought that's what your life was. But, you grow up and you have responsibilities. So yeah, it's really hard, and the further it went on, the harder it got, because you'd go from Australia, which, sounds terrible, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not
easy. Look out the window today.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to be in Australia today, wouldn't it? But,
try and do 24 hours in economy with a prolapsed disc in your back, I dare you. So there's things to it, and it goes sort of like play, train, play, off, train, play, off. So you get the people like, oh, did you go see the Taj Mahal? I was like, I had one day off.
Did you lay
and
on
I
the beach?
spent that laying down in my air-conditioned room. So it's not all it's cracked up to be, but you can't complain.
You can.
I can right now. Yeah.
That's the thing with cricket that always amazes me as well, is the amount of travelling, especially England international cricket. You're barely at home, surely.
Yeah. So if you sign up to the big 3, which is in women's cricket, is the WIPL, so the Indian Premier League, the 100 in England, and the Australian Big Bash competition, the WBBL, which is pretty much like February or March, August or July, and then the end of the summer, so like October, November. If you sign up to those, you really don't see home. I think last year someone like Sophie Eccleston, she got about 3 weeks at home total in the 12 months. And it's because sometimes you hop. So Nat, my wife, she went from New Zealand tour 5 weeks, and she hopped from there to India, 22-hour flight. From India to New Zealand, the other way around.
Yeah.
And then hopped home to then play 2 home series, to then play the 100, to then go to, I don't even know where she went, but right now she's in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, South Africa, Australia. But in between that, you can choose to go to Australia for that tournament too. So
just in case you want to be further. Yeah,
if you do that, you really aren't ever going to see your home. So you gotta prioritise your mental health. So time at home, being with family, being normal, because being normal is strange. And then, but also like your body and your longevity of your career, but then making as much money as you can too, because why wouldn't you try and do that? Yeah. Like people get plagued all the time for trying to earn some money playing sport, and you're like, you all would. Don't give me that. You would all try and make as much money as you possibly can while you can, because you've got a family to look after.
It's a short career, really, isn't it?
If I finish at 30, 35, And I've got no education because I sacrificed further education to play sport at a very high level. And I do that 20 years solid. If you don't do uni alongside that, which is impossible, by the way, now, then you're kind of stuck with, I don't know, a job that, compared to the one you've just had, is not
quite as glamorous.
Good at all.
If you like.
Yeah, so you've got to be smart. You've got to invest.
How do you decide that then? Is that what you do? You just go, well, I need the money? Or, because you're trying to juggle so many things, your fitness, your family life, like you say.
Yeah, and your passion and your priority,
yeah.
and playing for your country.
Yeah.
So what's important to you? Is money important to you? Is representing your country important to you? Is playing in the best tournaments in the world important to you? Is legacy? And then you sort of weigh that up and you're like, well, also I want to provide for my family the best I can. And these 3 tournaments are where I earn the most money. So take Nat, for instance, Nat Sciver-Brunt, anybody who's not aware, that if she didn't play for England, she'd earn more money. So, which is nuts. Yeah. But she wants to play for England. She wants to captain it one day. And that means the most to her. So she's sacrificing the WBBL, which is in a month and a half's time, which is a lot of money. It's about 110,000.
Wow.
Sacrificing that pot of money to play for England, to then take that time off, to then come back to play for England again. So she knows if she goes England, the franchise tournament, then England, she'll be cooked. Mentally. Does
it affect your career, though, to say, I'm not bothered about playing that tournament because I want to play for England? Does it help? Or does it not matter because as a player you're thinking, well, that's what I want to do? So, or do you think it's hard? You?
So they've just missed, we just put out our second 11 for the Irish tournament. So let's say Nat and the first team would have played that. A lot of them would have made a lot of career bests. Fifers, hundreds, every game. And that's... You know, that the Indians play the Asia Cup every year and they tally hundreds of fifers regularly. So a lot of their records have come against the two or three least good teams in the whole world.
Yeah.
Now, Ireland, to us, is, they're like number 20 and we're 1 or 2. So it's like, if you want to cash in sort of on your career stats, that's what... But no one's doing anything like that anymore.
Yeah.
You say no to 100 grand to get some mental health space so you can play for your country in the Ashes the next month, or you, what I just said on that last point, you do that for the same reason. So
it's taken a while. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but it's taken a while for women's cricket to get to that point, though. It's kind of a good place to be going, we can turn down 100 grand, because that wasn't the case before, was it? And we'll touch on that in a bit, but I wanted to start talking about where it all started for you.
Yeah.
So here in Barnsley, did you pick up a cricket bat straight away? Because a lot of people do in Barnsley, don't they? It's cricket. How did you kind of get into that?
I guess it's different for people, isn't it? And I guess it's mostly influenced by environment. And I just so happened to have a dad and brother my brother closest to me. So I'm the youngest, he's the second youngest. So we're the closest in age. And then my dad. And they both played at Barnsley Cricket Club, Shore Lane. And they sort of, I was obsessed with my brother, Daniel. Anything he did, I wanted to do. I wanted to dress like him. I wanted to be like him. I wanted to hang out with his mates. Anything to do with that. And so when he's a batter keeper, which is funny because I became a bowler.
Right, yeah. Totally.
And eventually a bowling all-rounder. But I just wanted to do everything that he did, but try to be as good as him. And trying to be as good as one that's 3.5 years older than you, a fellow who grew to be 6'1".
Well, it helps you become competitive, I suppose.
It was pretty competitive, but that's the best thing. And I think that's a trait of being in Barnsley, especially from back in the 80s, 90s, because my dad was a runner, a marathon runner and a miner. He was a miner for 25 years, and so I got all my resilience and, attitude, hard-facedness from him. So things didn't seem to faze me playing with lads. It was terrifying, but I kept that to myself. And they welcomed me because I was good. If I'd have been crap, they wouldn't have entertained that.
Could have been a different story.
Yeah, so you had to prove yourself, and they did not go easy at all.
So was it easy to to get into the boys' teams when you were growing up then? No. Because that culture wasn't there, was it, I suppose, as it is now, thanks to people like yourself, really, pioneering that women's cricket game. So how did you do that? Was it because your brother was playing? Did you go, get me in? How did you get in?
I was actually very shy up until I played for England. And in my third year of playing for England, a few of the older ones moved on. I felt a bit more comfortable. Yeah. And because of the media, you had to get better at speaking. Mm-hmm. You could not be quiet. So I had to grow up fast there. But before that, I was always very shy, very insular, introvert. And I just let my actions do my talking. Mm-hmm. So they were all like, oh, we can't have a girl playing, you're joking. Yeah. And I was the only one in the whole of the Barnsley League, ever. I never saw one female until nearly the end when I'd stopped playing boys and men's cricket. So it was like, you'd have your, you swear in and I liked that because they weren't trying to be polite for me. Yeah. It was, you were one of the lads.
Yeah.
So, I didn't want to get changed with them, so I did a lot of toilets changing situations, which is fine. But when I went on the pitch, my brother and my dad had seen me play in the back garden, and they basically just assumed that was a good standard. Okay. So I come to the cricket club and they tried me out there, and it went well. I made a few of the lads cry there just by getting them out. They were absolutely fuming. Yeah. Couldn't live. I probably still haven't lived it down. And so I just instantly thought, this is quite good. Yeah. Quite like this.
I'm quite good at this. Yeah.
And because I'd had a successful little training session, they sort of went, oh, I suppose it doesn't really matter that she's a girl. She's pretty good. She could probably help us win, actually. Oh, Tony, get her in next week, will you? Yeah. And it sort of just went from there. And every week I just did what it took to prove myself that I belonged there, no matter being a girl, small.
So how long did you play boys and men's cricket until then? When was the age?
Probably until my England career took off at 19. So I was a late bloomer. My talent was good enough to join England, I think, at 17. But back then it was really difficult to play. There was more around. In the Yorkshire setup, women's, I knew nothing about it at all. Nothing televised, nothing. And I had one black and white TV. But I sound really old there, I'm 39, not 80. So there wasn't much inspiration for me. I didn't even know it existed until I got asked to trial for Yorkshire. And I got asked to trial quite late. And I turned up to this, the first team. And I thought, I reckon I'm better than her at opening the bowling.
Wow, okay.
But they had 7 England players at the time, current. So I was like, it's probably going to be quite hard to get in
pretty
there.
Much the whole team.
Yeah, but they all retired pretty much at once. They won 12, 13, 14 championships in a row. And then just 7 of them just, bye. So then I'm in.
That's a great opportunity, wasn't it? Good time, I suppose.
I don't think I should have had to wait that long, but it was just the hierarchy of it at the time. Yeah. Which meant I played for England at 19. And I don't think, looking back, that was a bad thing. I got to grow up and...
Yeah, well, I'm guessing there wasn't that pathway there either then.
No, definitely not.
As there is now. So did they come to you then and say, we think you should play for England, you should go to Yorkshire camps?
No, not necessarily. They didn't really have... They had some scouts, but not really. It wasn't that professional a setup. A lot of the girls that I then went and played with England with had come from the age groups, under 15s, 19s academy. But I hadn't. I'd just come straight from playing for Yorkshire to bang, straight in playing for England. So I didn't get any of it. Because them girls knew all stuff like discipline and curfews, stuff like that. Right, okay. I don't know any of that. Yeah. I weren't a bad one. But
that's a sense of professionalism.
Yeah, if you like. So I was just still treating everything like a hobby. But the one thing playing with the lads and then bowling at my head constantly and trying to whack me out of the park was that the cricket in itself, playing it, wasn't hard to me. Playing it with the first team men in the Yorkshire League at Shore Lane was the hardest thing I've ever done. Yeah. So that was a lovely transition.
So it prepared you very well.
Yeah, which no women will ever do again.
No.
There's just, which is great. There's so many female teams.
That's a good thing, though.
It's brilliant in terms
of... You're saying it prepared you quite well, actually, but do you think they should still have
Right, if you
much?
talk to the best female cricketers there's ever been up until this point, retired, I would bet you £1 million they all have got a really good men's competitive background. And well, I know because all of them are my mates, so I'm quite happy with my bet.
I'm not going to bet you. I'm not going to take you up on that bet. It sounds like you're going to beat me, but
I mean, it's not the be all and end all, because as you can see, there's a lot of talent today where some of them haven't come from that. Nat did, Heather did, Amy did, Tammy did. They're still playing, but that's the bit I worry about for the next gen.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So at the time, it was all amateur sport, wasn't it? It wasn't professional for you to start with. When did you then think, I can make a career out of this and actually pay the bills? Did you never, honestly?
So the first 10 years of my career, I was earning about, I want to say between £200 and £300 a month. And that was coming from like Sport England,
right?
The lottery funding. And that was paying for my fuel to Loughborough, where the National Cricket Performance Centre was. And a couple of expenses in there that I needed, like to buy kit, because we're buying our own kit. I bought all my own cricket equipment, and everybody knows how expensive that is. And, so actually, it didn't really cover it at all.
So you were paying to play, essentially?
Yeah, I was, definitely. And just 4 years prior to me making my debut, someone like Charlotte Edwards, she paid for her own blazer and flights to Australia. So it was just like really rogue. But they loved it. And I loved it, so you did what you had to. But I always had an ambition to not leave home because I didn't want to be at home. I just wanted to be I don't know. I guess everybody knows my background and my story. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be able to be who I was inside, because that was still quite in there. And so I could only see that by buying my own house, living by my own rules, trying to have more freedom. So I was very keen to get on the ladder, and I didn't know that was what I'd be passionate about later, property developing. And so, I got 3 jobs on the side. I actually had 4 at one time. I worked for my dad, a solicitor's, I coached up in Selby. So I was filing for a solicitor's. I was my dad's PA.
Right.
I was really rogue, that. And then I did lots of coaching. I worked for Chance to Shine, which is like a cricket foundation, and also for the power station in Selby.
And did you ever think, actually, I'd want to do this instead of cricket? Or is it
No, it was really hard work. It was really hard work. Juggling 3 jobs and playing for my country was just insane.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so that was the
Well,
first
did you ever,
10
that's what I'm
years.
saying, did you ever think, I can't do the cricket anymore, I just can't, it's not going to be worth my while?
Not at all. That's what drove me to go to all those jobs.
Right.
And not once did I ever want to quit, ever. No way. I must have had a lot of energy.
Well, you must have done. And I mean, I'm just looking
And I loved making money and saving. I loved seeing it save.
Yeah.
And then that paid for my deposit on a house, and off I went, 23.
I mean, I'm just looking at the amount of internationals. I mean, 14 tests, 141 one-day internationals, 112 2020. It was all worth it in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, 19 years. And I think after my first back surgery, which was quite early, 2007, I think, 6, 7, back end of 6, I think, into 7, and that's 2 years into my England career. I'm having back surgery. And at the time, the medicine was not very good in that particular area. And he would say, not sure if you'll come back. If you do, I really doubt it as a fast bowler. So, it's in your hands. And, but my rehabs and my discipline with trying to get back was massive. I actually can't believe the amount of work I put in.
Your resilience is crazy. What, 3
back
career ending, essentially injuries. Then you carried on till your late 30s as a player. And that's pretty good going.
I didn't have to end then either.
No.
But luckily, being older and more mature, I thought about life after sport. I want to be able to, I've got 60 more years, hopefully. What do I want those to look like? Do I want to be really, unable to do lots of things that I enjoy, playing golf, tennis, walking, jogging, being social, hiking, going abroad, like just even flying sometimes with the back injuries, just sitting is
really
unbelievable. So, yeah, I just wanted to not punish myself any longer. I could definitely have played like 2 more years of the 100. Could have played the Ashes for England, but
you've got to value.
You've
like
got to press stop.
Earlier, it's about deciding what's right for you, isn't it? And that, and you decided obviously that family and your future life was more valuable than those particular.
Yeah, and
tournaments.
bearing a child, like. Will I be able to bear a child?
Yeah.
I don't know. The professional's telling me he thinks I will, but really?
Yeah.
I've had so many women...
If you can't sit down, it could be on a plane.
So many
you're talking
women
about
just
how
saying
bad that is. It's,
a baby growing inside you puts pressure on all your nerves.
Yeah.
And that was a real big problem with me, was the nerves, the sciatic nerve. So, well, I know now that I'm pregnant that I can do that.
Yeah,
so,
congratulations.
Thank you.
But, I mean, we the women's game's changed so much since you started. I mean, how proud are you of what? Well, I think players like yourself have really pioneered that. I mean, England winning the World Cups and all the rest of it. It's probably boosted that even further. But when you look back, how proud are you to say, women's cricket's come a long way? There's probably further it can go, but up to this point, I mean, you're just talking about those amount of tournaments, the £100,000. I mean, you would have never spoke about that, would you, 20 years ago? And now, and now you've got that luxury. And how does that feel?
Yeah, so I've had that question a few times, and it mainly starts with, are you bitter? Like, that you're not making that kind of coin now, and I'm not. Of course, I'm, sad that I don't get to cash in that way, but that's not where I got my joy from. I got my joy from losing myself in a game that meant life or death to me, but absolutely nothing in life or to anyone else. But that's how I saw it, and that feeling, that euphoric feeling of just being completely lost within yourself is something you cannot replace or experience unless you do something like that, I guess. It's like a drug, really, and this is why a lot of athletes turn to drug and alcohol to try and replace that feeling, because it's just so great. And that's why you do it. You don't do it for the money. So, and I think we had a bunch of us there that felt the same way, and so we were successful for a long period of time. I don't think we ever dropped from second in the world, and we were first for a good amount of time, and won 2 World Cups, 5 Ashes series. And the only reason we got cricket to where it is now in this country is because of that success, and because we kept banging on the news door and the boys' door. We exist. We want more. Which would lead me on to the professional contract chat.
Yes, there was I was going to segue into that, because that all happened then, didn't it? You got the contracts from ECB saying basically guaranteed your England future, didn't it? So.
Yeah, and that I'm just going to put out there, I had a lot to do with that, and it's not necessarily written about or spoken about.
So just explain to people.
Yeah, the ECB get all the credit, don't they? And so they should, because they put the money on the table and they took the risk. Because everything you do, I put all my money in investments, because I've got a good dad who taught me well, and they're all risks. They're all calculated risks, but if you invest something, you expect to get something back, and that's what we were at the time. They couldn't see what today would be. But they had to just trust that they invested in us. We would give back, which we have. And so at the time, 2013, 12, I got the girls together. I put together this PowerPoint presentation, which I had to have help for.
Did you have a bit of clip art on?
Absolutely no idea how to do PowerPoint, Excel. Still don't.
Nice transition, just sliding in.
My bro, Austin, my older brother's in IT, and can you help me? Put this PowerPoint together. I thought it was great. It's probably really naff if I look at it now, but it basically, I went around asking the FA, rugby, women's sports, what did they earn per year? Then I did some background history and current into the men's salaries. And I think we were roughly earning, so I was playing all 3 formats, Test, ODI, T20. And I just picked on a player who was only playing red ball, so they weren't even playing white ball men's. And I was earning 1% of their salary. Right. And I was just like, does that...
And you were a top international, we're talking.
I was actually number 1 in the world at the time. number one bowler in the world, decent with the bat, one of the best fielders in the world. So I just thought, you know, I'd just won Player of the Year with Freddie Flintoff, and that year, 2013, we won it side by side. So we were effectively the same within our sports. And I was earning one, and I just thought, look, I know we're not on TV. I know we don't put thousands of bums on seats. I'm not stupid. I know how this works, business, etc.
But I should be getting a bit more.
But yeah, if you ever want us to be able to do that, you've got to invest in us.
Yeah.
It doesn't start from nothing. Mm-hmm. We're providing you the entertainment and the talent. You've got to put some money into it. So we did this presentation, and we put it forward. And within that a year, they brought professional contracts in, but we had to do it as a team.
Yeah.
And we got nailed for doing it because we did it just before an Ashes series. And it was like, why are you not concentrating on the Ashes? Yeah. It's so important. We're like, the only reason it would be effective if you don't listen to us.
We might not be playing the Ashes.
Actually, it'll make us play better because we'd be fuming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made a big difference. And so, like anything in the history of everything, you got to make noise. Yeah. You got to do something.
I think that was my point as well, because it's not about, like I say, it's not about you making money, but it's about safeguarding the sport for future generations, isn't it? At the end of the day, if they're not getting paid, you're not going to. People aren't going to want to play, are they? So you're not going to get that pathway of girls coming up wanting to play a game where they're not going to make a career out of it. So I suppose,
correct.
In some ways, you've created that pathway as well through it.
Yeah, because God knows how. You always think, could I have been better? Of course I could have. I could have trained 20 more hours a week. Or I could have... I missed all the easy tours. I missed the Pakistan series, the Sri Lanka series, the Ireland series. All those series against the, worst teams in the world, where you would get all your wickets. They saved me for India, Australia, New Zealand, and West Indies when they were brilliant. For only that. Because of my back. So, yeah, it's hard. It's sickening to really have to fight that long and hard for that.
But it's paid off, we think.
Yes.
And another first was the Commonwealth Games as well, because England women had never played at the Commonwealth Games, and you did. What was that like here in Birmingham as well, wasn't it?
That was surreal, actually. It meant a lot to me personally. It was just bad timing. Had that been, my first 10 years, we would have won gold.
Yeah.
Had it been that 10 to 15 years, would have been a silver, maybe a gold. But we'd got an influx of kids, no experience whatsoever, and not on a stage like that. Christ, it felt bigger than a World Cup.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people coming to World Cups, but the whole country turned out for that. It was mad. Yeah. So some of them just melted. And myself and Nat, we'd lost our captain. Myself and Nat were trying to sort of run the show and look after them, and there was just no time to do it. Yeah. So there was an enormous amount of pressure on the senior players, and the younger players just saw it. Sort of like afterwards when we'd lost, they were just happy to be there.
Yeah, well that's it. I mean,
I'm like dying inside.
You're crying in a corner.
Here's my one and only chance. So yeah, it was huge. And now we're in an Olympics, and I can't be part of that.
No,
but my wife can. So
can you coach?
Yeah, I've thought about coaching. I'm still thinking about coaching. I'm pregnant, so it's quite difficult to see what that looks like. I have to talk to some females. I've been there, done that.
From behind the scenes, instead of being out there. I don't know.
Luckily, I wouldn't be a batting coach, although I can help with that. But batting's quite dangerous. You sling and they smack it back at you.
Yep.
And if you've not got good reactions, you're done for. So bowling coaching's good. You can just stand behind and watch them go.
Yeah.
Apart from in live scenarios, obviously. So there are some, difficulties to it, and I don't know what I'm going to feel like when I'm 6, 7, 8 months pregnant. Probably horrific. So there's a lot of obstacles I've got to get through with in life. Just being a normal human being for a start. It's been quite hard in the last year. So I'm taking it step by step.
Yeah, well, obviously you're starting a family, but what else are you kind of up to now? You were saying you've got your own podcast as well now. Yeah,
I got the PCA, Professional Cricket Association, they got in contact, said, would you and another professional male retired player put this together? It's about getting, it's called Under the Lid, but it's about getting to know the people you get on, sort of a real good delve into their lives. And we get some really good people, like lots of England cricketers, so it's mainly for, you know, the athlete to sort of learn and not, you take the goodness from it and the bad, but also it's insightful for everybody else. So I've really enjoyed doing it. It wasn't something I ever saw myself doing. It's not really my cup of tea, but
I like how you've brought that back to the Brewed In Barnsley thing, because I hadn't even asked.
Oh yeah,
we went straight into cricket talk. We were so excited to talk about it. But cups of tea, do you like tea?
I do love tea. At the minute, I'm a parched pregnant lady, so I'm a lot of water. Yeah, I think every woman can.
You've got to be careful with caffeine in tea.
I know, you have. So at the minute, I'm on the decaf Yorkshire tea.
It's got to be Yorkshire tea. Everyone said Yorkshire tea.
I cannot bear anything but Yorkshire tea, I'm afraid. And that's not a plug.
You're not sponsored by them or anything?
No, to be fair, I've been an ambassador before, but that's because I'd raved about it before and they were like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's always been Yorkshire tea. Just love it. It's just how the bag is.
Milk, 2 sugar?
Instantly strong cup of tea.
Do you have milk, sugar?
I'm a sweetener. I don't believe in carcinogens, but there you go. I'm trying to lay off the full fat sugar, so.
Fair enough.
And I have to have a whole milk.
Oh, right.
I can't. Skim milk.
It's
just wrong. Just drink. Just put water in your tea if you're going to have skim.
It's not worth it. So, okay, whole milk. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And talking of tea, actually, as well, in cricket, you stop for tea, don't you? I was talking to my friend the other night, big cricket fan. He said, oh, I can't believe you're interviewing Katherine. I said, yeah. So I was like, what would you want me to ask? You know, if you got the opportunity to speak to her, what would you say? He went, what do they have for tea and what's the best? Where's the best ground in the country?
That's what he wanted to ask me.
That's all he wanted to know.
Okay.
So I'm asking it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I miss a good cricket tea and not a cup of tea, although you would always weirdly get a cup of tea like that. Great, but weird to have a cup of tea with your tea.
So what tea did you have?
Why are you not having a squash or water?
A buffet or what?
Yeah, so the best ones would be a spread.
Right.
My mum used to be the tea lady at cricket, and you'd have half a jacket potato, cheese beans, or tuna mayo, if you want everything.
Solid. Yeah.
And then there'd be a selection of things like, you know, your cocktail sausages, your sausage rolls,
all healthy
your
stuff.
little quarter pork pie, your prawn ring, all that jazz, crisps. So good, so good. And I was so sad when it stopped. Everything's sad when growing up, isn't it? You lose Santa. That's not a thing anymore. Harry Potter doesn't become as cool, and you lose your teas.
I don't know. I'm still on the Harry Potter.
The time that teas came back and were brilliant, when I played at Lord's for the first time.
What did they do?
You'd have to be there. The teas at Lord's, unbelievable. It's like Michelin star, but not all the fancy crap. It's proper. But that's how I describe how good it is.
You get like an 8-course meal, like some little.
So if you're a bowler and you're playing a test match there, and you've got to go back out to bowl, you're really gutted because you can't fill your boots.
You only get one course, and you
cannot fill your boots. So if it's the ODI, you always bowl first. Whoever's bowling first is laughing. Yeah, they're in the best position. So that's my favourite tea, other than a.
Did the batters try and get themselves out early so they could go and have a long?
Absolutely not.
A long tea.
There's also an honours board, which I did get myself on, thank God.
Yes. Was there some gates named after you as well?
That was at the Oval.
The Oval, yeah.
Nat.
That's a huge thing as well, isn't it?
So the Oval, the people at Surrey, as you know, they've got a lot of cash, and they are trying their best to be more inclusive. I mean, probably wouldn't put it like that, but I'm putting it like that because that's how black and white it is, let's be real. Because there's a long history of extremely good female cricketers, both there and around the country, that just haven't been honoured. Yeah. So every stand you bowl from, there's 4 stands obviously, and they're named after men in every ground ever, anywhere. So I think that will change. I'm still waiting for me Sciver-Brunt end at Headingley. Just put that out there. Not a toilet. Thanks.
Is that what you've got?
No.
Oh, I was worried that's actually all there is.
You can just like see it. Well, you get it somewhere. So yeah, Nat having one of the major gates named after her was just, and it says Sciver-Brunt, so I'm claiming half.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
Well, you can.
So I just thought that was brilliant, and hats off to him because it shows where we've come from, where we're going. Great.
So now you've retired. What kind of things do you like to do in your spare time away from podcasting and cricket?
Good question. At the minute, I'm tired all the time, so I'm not really doing anything. I have 2 dogs. I got an older dog and a puppy now, which I'm trying to get fully trained before this new baby comes along. Christ.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, so I love them to death. Anything to do with them, walking, just hanging out. I just love dogs. If it was up to me, no kids, 5 dogs. Nah.
Bit late now.
Yeah, there's no compromise there. There's kids. So I focus on them. I love playing golf. I'm not very good, but I don't care. I just love walking around. I love countryside. I love view. I've played.
Move back to Barnsley then.
I know. There's some
It's
Woolly.
I've
played at Woolly. That was a nice golf course. Silkstone. Some lovely courses around here, to be honest. Yorkshire's brilliant for countryside. I'm sure I'll be back at one point. Had to move to Leicester for cricket, guys. Sorry about that, but I will be back.
People won't hold it against you much.
Don't hold it against me. I did it for the sport.
Yeah.
What else do I do? Property develop. So at the minute, I'm also back here in Barnsley to renovate a house. So I do that. And I really enjoy it. I get stuck in. I don't like to let other people do work unless it's absolutely necessary. So my dad's like, don't electrocute yourself, don't blow anything up. So I'm like, okay, electricians, plumbers, you do your thing. Yeah. But I'll do everything else.
Yeah. No,
I'm quite a handy woman.
Yeah, you're keeping yourself nice and busy.
Yeah, I don't like not being busy.
So growing up in Barnsley then, did you do a lot of the sports activities, or did you have other hobbies as well? What kind of things did you get up to?
I always got my hands dirty, and from pretty much coming out of the womb, my parents told me I would be in the garden, soiling my fingernails, eating worms. So that just shows you.
It's a nice
that gives you a little insight. Yeah.
Perhaps you for sport. Then.
Well, I'm just, as you can see, not bothered. I'll do anything. I'm not your girly girl. My 2 sisters are like hair and makeup, and they used to try and do it, put me in dresses and stuff, and I'm like, no, get away.
I'm off to bowl.
Yeah. So I was always like physical. I played lots of sports, football, basketball at school, even though I was shy, but I just loved it. So I was willing to, put myself out there. I was too shy really to have friends. I got quite big at one stage, and I got bullied a lot at school. So I didn't really have a lot of friends and social activities there. My family couldn't really afford to, they go skiing and stuff these days, and Disneyland. I didn't get to do any of that, but it's not everything. Like, I just enjoyed going to the cinema and just walking around. That's the thing about Yorkshire. There's so many beautiful places. It's never that far away. Yeah. To go somewhere really nice. Yeah. People always comment on towns and cities, and I'm like, just take yourself 1-2 mile out. You'll see something.
I'll just come to Barnsley is what we're trying to say. Right.
Yeah, I mean, bloody hell, it's changed so much.
I'm going to say, what do you think?
Well, I had a period of about 5 years where I was just gone. Yeah. And when I was home, I just needed to lie down. So I was like, I can't go to Barnsley. Yeah. And if I did, I'd go directly to Dodderf to my parents and directly back. So I wouldn't even enter town. And one time I had like 4 days. I came over and I was like, I'm going to go in town and old George's for a coffee. And I was like, what on earth is that? And this big gold building. There's this glassworks out of nowhere. And I was like, crikey. I was like, I'll have a little walk around there. And you've got like flannels, and you've got all the,
high end.
Yeah, I know. I don't even need to go to Meadowhall anymore. I'm like, I'll just shop in Barnsley. So, we're going places. It's actually, you look around, there's lots of like new contemporary buildings. The college looks awesome. College with pants when I was, that's why I didn't go to college. But yeah, it's just desirable now, I think. There's just so much to it. Like, just the gyms look nice. Lots of them. Yeah, it's just great. I think it's come on so much. So much to the point where You could see it as some place you could be and then get to be somewhere else. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, it was more like I need to get out to get better, to be someone. Yeah. Whereas I don't look at Barnsley like that now. I think you could quite happily live here and end up somewhere where you want to be. So it's great.
So what would you say to anyone listening to this now that's thinking, or any girls that are listening to this now and thinking, I want to take up sport, I want to have a career in cricket, and they're living here in Barnsley?
Yeah.
I was going to say, can it be done? Well, obviously it can. But do you think there are those opportunities now for people?
Oh, by a country mile. Like, for instance, there weren't a women's club when I started. I managed. There's a women's club now. Yeah. There you go. There's your intro. Those clubs weren't scouted. They're scouted now. So you're going to get seen. The facilities now are 10 times better. There was really nothing then. There was like one Astro strip to share. And a concrete indoor hall. They're proper facilities now. Schools didn't do quick cricket or have people come in, do courses. They have them now. Mm-hmm. I was coaching them. Mm-hmm. The amount available to you is literally on your doorstep. And your pathway to a career in this sport is literally laid out for you. Mm. And compare it to men's, it's difficult. There's so much talent. There's like 5 times the amount of people coming through, so competition's hard. Mm. It's like football. If you want to be a pro footballer, it's bloody hard. Yeah. It's the same for men's cricket, quite as hard as football, but women's cricket, there's opportunity. If I tried again now, I would play for England again. So it's there, and the money, the security, which wasn't there, is there. So you can see it, it's there, and you can have it for as long as you want, because they've now got physios, nutritionists, psychologists who look after you and give you the best career possible. And
that in part is down to you, a girl from Barnsley, started off here and you've made
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, I know, but
no, I've championed it my whole life.
I think the town's so proud of you for that kind of stuff as well. It's
thanks.
It's nice, it's great, and it's wonderful hearing from you today, and really appreciate you coming on. Good luck with the property development podcast. And also with the pregnancy, of course. Congratulations again.
I'm going to need it. Thanks.
I'm sure we'll speak soon. Thank you.
Perfect.